every story has a backstory, and every NBA arena also came from somewhere. Was it a field in the middle of nowhere? Was it an old rail yard? Were residents forced to move? Who, what, when, and how?
Everything that happens now is happening now.
What was every NBA arena before it was built is coming up right after this. Sometimes I wonder, how do refs sleep at night? Well, if they have a Bear mattress, the sponsor of this video, even they sleep amazing. Head to bearmattress.com/5points and use code 5points to get 40% off your Bear mattress. I'm not a ref, but with my Bear mattress, I sleep amazing every night. And I don't even have to ruin people's day. Bear is a premium mattress designed to upgrade your sleep, improve your lifestyle and overall quality of life, and it's conveniently shipped to your door for free. What you do first is take the Bear Sleep Quiz, which matches you to the perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. My results, I'm a big time side sleeper, so they put me in the Bear Original King Size Foam Mattress. It was so easy to set up. I've had it for nearly 2 years now, and I love sleeping on it. All of Bear mattresses are Green Guard Gold certified and CertaPure US certified, so you can sleep safely and soundly knowing there will be no harmful off-gassing, and it is fiberglass free. I love my Bear mattress, and I think you would too. If you're looking to upgrade your sleep, head to bearmattress.com/5points and use code 5points to get 40% off your Bear mattress. Now, before we get started, researching these were difficult, so if I made any significant errors, I will leave a comment down below with the corrections. Let's get into it. Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden was carefully built right on top of Pennsylvania Station, known better as Penn Station. The station today is fully operational underneath MSG, as only the above ground portions were leveled in the 60s. The original Penn Station was built in the early 20th century on land that had old city buildings on it. MSG opened in 1968 and is the fourth Madison Square Garden. The original was opened all the way back in 1879. The Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Target Center was opened in 1990 and was built in the warehouse district of Minneapolis. It replaced the Haskell's building, which had a large parking lot, and there was a bank nearby. Haskell's is a beer and wine distributor in Minnesota. Apparently, this wasn't exactly a great neighborhood either before or after the arena was built. The Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. The Delta Center was previously industrial buildings next to the Union Pacific Depot, a rail yard. It looks like most of the buildings were warehouses and distribution centers. 10 years after the Delta Center was opened in 1991, the depot itself was also leveled to create the Gateway Mall. Mortgage Matchup Center, Phoenix, Arizona. Really? This is the name? Mortgage Matchup Center. Opened in 1992, the then America West Arena was built in a rough part of downtown Phoenix near a busy intersection alongside East Jefferson Street, catty corner to the Phoenix Convention Center. The truncated city block contained what looks like industrial warehouses. The area to the south of the arena doesn't look like it has changed much since it was built, still mostly flat, like your mom. Rocket Arena, Cleveland, Ohio. Built at around the same time as Jacobs Field, aka Progressive Field, both stadiums were put in a neighborhood in downtown Cleveland, close to the flaming hot Cuyahoga River. The area looks like it was a parking lot and a couple of brick buildings across from the old Cleveland thermal factory. And I don't even want to imagine what the hell is in that river. The United Center, Chicago, Illinois. The house that Michael Jordan built. Once a residential neighborhood in near West Side Chicago, the houses were long demolished before the United Center was built in 1994. Chicago Stadium, the Bulls' previous home, is right across the street. It's also the site of the first ever indoor NFL game, which took place in 1932. The Moda Center, Portland, Oregon. Before the Moda Center, originally known as the Rose Garden, was built in 1994, it was the parking lot to the still standing Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which opened in 1959. Prior to that, it was a modest neighborhood on the Willamette River. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. Much like Madison Square Garden, TD Garden is also on top of a train station, the Boston North Station. The area was previously a parking lot for the old Boston Garden, as TD Garden was built in the narrowest of spaces with little tolerance for error. As the two buildings were only 9 inches apart, something your mom knows about? Not for me, I'll tell you. The size comparison is pretty staunch, as the original Boston Garden didn't have standard ice dimensions due to its narrow footprint. It was demolished in 1998. The Xfinity Mobile Arena, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Xfinity Mobile Arena replaced the long-abandoned JFK Stadium, which was near the parking lot of both Citizens Bank Field and Lincoln Financial Field. It has changed its names 5 times. First it was the Core State Center, then the First Union Center, then the Wachovia Center, then the Wells Fargo Center, and finally its name today, the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Yo, get your shit together, y'all. Honestly, at some point, stadiums are gonna be named for specific products like the iPhone 18 Arena and shit. Just stop. Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. Mostly a parking lot in the Chinatown neighborhood of D.C., it appears there was also a high-rise on the block when the Capital One Arena was built, aka the Verizon Center. Prior to that, it was a modest residential neighborhood between Gallery Place and the Office of Government Accountability, which is probably the greatest oxymoron I've ever heard. Seriously, that's a real place? Well, they haven't been doing their job lately. Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Ball Arena was built on a 4.6-acre abandoned rail yard, which had been there since before the 1950s. Once a vital hub of activity, as railroad usage eventually died down, the flat land became ideal to put the arena, which was built in 1999. Now the area is mostly parking with an amusement park nearby. Active train tracks do bisect the two properties. The Crypto.com Arena, Los Angeles, California. Hey, I found a worse name than the Mortgage Matchmaker Pavilion or whatever that shit is in Phoenix. The Crypto.com Arena in downtown LA was an old annex to the Los Angeles Convention Center prior to being torn down and converted into LA Live, or whatever it's called now. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Indianapolis, Indiana. Also built next to a rail yard, Gainbridge Fieldhouse was a parking lot and storage area for nearby Union Station. The train tracks, which are still active, actually influenced the shape of the building, causing the south end to have an angular tip. And it's just the tip. Kaseya Center, Miami, Florida. This one is really interesting because at one point, the land the Kaseya Center is built on didn't exist. Originally a shipping terminal and scrapyard on the west side of the Port of Miami, it was leveled in 1999 to put the arena there. Really, it's just an odd place to put the stadium. Virtually no parking and major intersections for pedestrians to cross on game day. Anyways, in 1984, this area was completely empty. And only 11 years prior, in 1969, it was water. Yes, only half the land the arena is built on was dredged out at that point, and in 1961 it was just a small dock, and in 1940 it was dredged dirt, and a small island to the east was still in the bay. Pretty fascinating, honestly. Scotiabank Arena, Toronto, Ontario. Another interesting one, the Scotia, as it's known, was built on top of a post office. From 1938 to 1993, the Toronto Postal Delivery Building served as a logistics hub for mail and package delivery. Prior to that, it was land once part of Toronto's Inner Harbor, as a nearby rail yard had a facility there alongside the Central Harbor terminals, which the stadium is more than likely built upon. If you visit the area, the evidence of the old rail history is all over the place. Just like your mom has a pretty deep rail history. Heyo! State Farm Arena, Atlanta, Georgia. The State Farm Arena, originally named the Phillips Arena, directly replaced the Omni in 1999. The Omni had a really weird exterior. It looked like a waffle, presumably a shout out to Waffle House. Prior to the Omni's construction, the land was, get this, an empty plot near a rail yard. Yes. American Airlines Center, Dallas, Texas. This seems to be a common theme. The American Airlines Center was also built on an empty plot of land next to a rail yard in downtown Dallas. It appears there was a long warehouse and gas storage unit on the property with a huge parking lot adjacent to an open field. Frost Bank Center, San Antonio, Texas. Frost Bank Center was built in the parking lot of the still standing Freeman Coliseum and is contained within the larger exposition space. Before the Coliseum was built in 1947, the land was a facility to host rodeos and livestock exhibitions, though it looks mostly like dirt. It still hosts rodeos to this day. Smoothie King Center, New Orleans, Louisiana. Yes, an arena dedicated to high-protein shakes. The Smoothie King Center was once, get this, part of a railroad depot and train yard. Before that, it actually looks like there was a canal that ran through the middle of the city that would eventually be filled in, like your mom. Toyota Center, Houston, Texas. The Toyota Center in Houston was once an old rail yard. Just kidding. It was a small, rundown neighborhood in East downtown Houston. Probably the least interesting of all the stadium backstories. Pretty dull. FedExForum, Memphis, Tennessee. Once a residential area off Beale Street in Memphis, the area the FedExForum was built on was cleared in the 70s and then was an empty field for just years. It looks like they had various plans for this plot of land that ultimately fell through until they built the arena, of course. Streets at one point ran directly under now what is the stadium. And just remember, if you're ever in Memphis, to hit up Rendezvous and get the dry rub ribs. Spectrum Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2002, the land for the Spectrum Center, a building named after what I'm on, was a parking lot across from the Charlotte Convention Center. This large building adjacent to the Spectrum Center is a bus terminal, the place where I met your mom. Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Built across from the new Oklahoma City Arena, which is now a movie studio, the Paycom Center opened in 2002, but didn't host an NBA game until 2005. And that was only because of Hurricane Katrina. Eventually, they got a real NBA team in 2008. Before it was built, it was on a row of businesses and a parking lot. And before that, they were long city-style buildings that are typically mixed use. The Kia Center, Orlando, Florida. Right beside I-4, the land the Kia Center, or Amway Center, was built on was basically 4 parcels of separate land, one of which had a junk and scrap yard, and the others were essentially dirt. At one point before that, it looked like it was zoned residential and had a couple homes on it. Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York. Built in 2012 on the corner of Flatbush and Atlantic Avenue, the Barclays Center was, holy crap, an old rail yard. But this was one for commuter trains, and it was actually a storage area. The Barclays Center is on top of a subway station and the LIRR Atlantic Terminal. What's crazy is there was a pretty protracted legal battle with some of the properties in the area when the city tried to use eminent domain to buy up these buildings, which were eventually done and they were condemned and demolished. Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. The Golden One Center was built on a rail yard. I'm just kidding. They tore down an entire shopping mall, the downtown plaza, so that the Kings would not leave. The indoor shopping mall had been there since 1971 and was dying inside, just like me every Sunday when the Giants play. Little Caesars Arena, Detroit, Michigan. Once an empty lot across the street from apartment complexes, Little Caesars Arena was built and became hot and ready for the 2017 NBA season. This area was pretty rough before they built the arena, or as they say in Detroit, normal. Fiserv Forum, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fiserv Forum was built in the parking lot for the previously used Bradley Center, which was getting older than your mom and looking much worse. Before it was the Bradley Center, it was just a bunch of apartments. Chase Center, San Francisco, California. In 2008, the land the Chase Center was built on was a muddy pond being used by a gravel and limestone company. This whole area reminds me of the arena in Miami, basically on a dredged port in an industrial area of San Francisco. Well, it was industrial back then. Now this whole region has been developed and Uber headquarters is nearby. And it sucks that this isn't happening in Oakland, where the Warriors actually are from. And finally, the Intuit Dome, Inglewood, California. The NBA's newest, shiniest, and grimiest arena, the Intuit Dome, was opened in 2024 and was built upon an old rail yard. I'm kidding. Thank God. It was actually a modest apartment complex and a semi-empty lot just south of SoFi Stadium. I get that this video is about the past, but I want to zoom in on this spot right here, which apparently an old lady and her dog still lived in, as she refused to sell the stadium to Steve Ballmer in LA County. Good on you, lady. They even built her a little wall. I wonder if she sells balloons in the park to little kids, and then one day Steve Ballmer tried to buy her house and she hit him with a cane, and then she flew to South America, to Angel Falls, and then discovers some rare, nearly extinct bird, and there's these cute dogs that can talk somehow, and then like all this stuff happened. Anyways, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, as it was built on an old rail yard, and I'm definitely going to do this for MLB and hockey, so subscribe if you want to see those videos in the future. Also, I already did this for the NFL. You can click that vid now. I'm 5 Points Vids, and you made it to my next video.